Gyokko Ryu, Koshijutsu, Koppojutsu have different densho and makimono. Some are watoji, text that you open like a book, and other are makimono open. Include to that, there is also many oboegaki kind of remember note that Takamatsu sensei wrote to Hatsumi sensei. And they explain more and more different kind of technique. Gyokko Ryu, it's not just Joryaku, Juryaku, Geiryaku, it's even more. You cannot resume a Ryuha just to 3 level and a certain number of technique. If you do this, it's like you put the Ryuha and the knowledge in a jail. I had a chance one day, thanks to Hatsumi Soke, to look in the scroll written by Takamatsu sensei, and here the explanation of Happō was, wow, make me feel that first I know nothing. Well, just before reading I knew nothing, but after reading I knew less than nothing, and that's the moment where you can see what you think you know is not what it is, and that you need to cultivate a certain deep humility in the front of the art. In one of the scroll, I think it's the Gyokko Ryu Gokui no Maki, Takamatsu sensei explain the Happō. And on this, he gives the name of each one. Shuho, literally hands, and Ho, the rules, the method. So you can translate this like the hands method, or how to use your hands. But at the same time, Shu, Te, it doesn't mean just the hand as a physical hand, it means the technique. For example, there is the word in Japanese called shujutsu. It doesn't mean the technique of hand, it means an operation. And in operation, there is many parameters. So here in Shuho, what is it? It's not just using the hand, it's to understand how you're using each finger, the tip of the finger, each kobushi joint, the wrist, elbow, shoulder blade. Hands means also the strategy of the technique, how it works. What is the way it works, how we've been transmitted, how can you explain it, and at the same time, how can you recognize on someone's technique, an enemy or whatever. That's Shuho. Gaho. Ga is the same as certain kanji like Seigan. It means the eyes. Here actually it's the method of observation, the way you observe, how you can understand an environment, how you can read a technique, how you can read someone's walking, talking, how you can also see, perceive through things. You have this aspect in ninjutsu called Jishin Kanpan no Jutsu, so it's the capacity to see, to foresight, because everything is about foresight. See before, and for that you need to study the Gaho. Shinpo, it's everything that deals on how you're going to use your body, how you're going to understand your body, how you're going to listen your body. In Shinpo also you have the aspect, there is no internal without external. Omote and ura follows, like the shadow and the light goes together, the inyo, which is used in many other classical martial arts. Here, for example, in the case of Shinpo, Gampo, and Shuho, if we look at that, you can see that you have to work the inside, not just the outside. You need to work the inside. And how do you work the inside? By listening. You listen the inside through the outside. And that's a very important thing. For example, when you do it ski, when you do the uke, when you use a weapon, sword, bow, whatever, how can you expand and stretch your inside through a weapon, through an environment, through a waza, through a word, through a way of observe. Because after all, what happened inside is the secret of the art. Hoho. Now this is very important because every sports martial arts, dancing, and even human beings' life is based on Fuho, Hoho, Sokuho, sometimes Ashitsukao. It's the method, the law that rules the way of using your legs, not just the footwork. Classical martial art include everything. So you need to have a footwork that can be extended to spear, sword, naginata. All those aspects of the walk tells a lot about who you have inside you and tells a lot about his inside, his nakami. There is a saying that nakami no nai hito wa kanarazu shugyo ni kiete iru. The translation is people who doesn't have that insight will automatically disappear from the practice. So here, seeing the legs of someone, legs tells a lot. And we said there is many words. For example, the late Gozo Shoda, but he's not the only one. Ueshiba Sensei as well. They used to use the word Sokunobudo. So the martial art of the legs, the Budo of the legs. Is it just the footwork? No, it's the toes, the ankle, the heel, the calf, the tibia, the knees, the upper legs to the hip. How you use them, how you understand their use, what kind of movement hurt. When you look, for example, in sports martial arts or judo, competitive, they all have problem on the ankle and the toes and the knees, which is connected in a biomechanic chain to the hip. And then the spine, the brain. Same for using the hand. Here again, Hoho is very deep, and they used to say that every martial art, even in the Chinese classical martial art, it's about how you use your legs. Not how you use your hand, but there is a hand in your legs, because sometimes they used to say you need to use your legs the same way you use your hand, and for that they use the image of the monkey, that capacity of using this. And this is very interesting. Here again, look around you, observe around you. By your eyes, you might understand how to use better your legs and your hand, and to see the correspondence, to see the match between the two. The word Seishin is very important. Anyone in Japan on any kind of discipline, they have the word of Seishin that literally can be translated nowadays like everything that deals with the psychology, so the spirit, the mind, but also the sentiment. Most of the time when you use the word Seishin, it's all about this psychological and at the same time spiritual, moral attitude. The way you look at the people, the inside compass you are, who you are deep down inside you, and all the education that you have from your family, from yourself, with the encounter with the world, etc., and at the same time with the master, and how you're going to grow and mature, how you're going to remove, filter. This is Seishin. Seishin is also your capacity to study deeper, different kind of doctrine, religion, and at the same time everything that deals with the psychology, elementary psychology, the empathy. How can you sense someone? You're a teacher, you have a student, you need to be able to see if he's too weak, if he's scared, if he has family problem, if you have some priors, and how you're going to deploy everything you can in order to help him. That's also Seishin. Then you have, of course, Kisoku. Kisoku. So it's everything that deals with, we call this also in Japanese, kokyu, ho, the method, the way of breathing. A lot of things have been used, for example, from the Zen meditation and Zazen, but classical dojo said kokyu is important. It's not just about the way you breathe, it's how you can sense someone's way of breathing, because the way of breathing tells a lot about if you're quiet, if you are nervous, if you are ready to do something. And the way of breathing is connecting, of course, with the heartbeat and the flow of the blood. So all this, it's again connecting with the aspect of Shinpo, the body, understanding the rules of the body, the way you use your hand, the way you look. Because even the way you look is connecting with a way of breathing. The way you sit is connecting with a way of breathing. The way you talk, the way you eat, the way you walk, it's connecting with a way of breathing. So if you have to use a weapon, for example, a spear when you attack, a sword, any kind of weapon, or when you use striking exercise, you need a certain way to breathing. And this way of breathing needs to be expand and stretch to your environment. Most of the time when you focus too much on your breath, you forget that there is people around you, and especially an enemy who attack you. So listening and understanding your breathing through the breathing of someone. This is Kisoku. In the movement of any technique, the way, for example, you're gonna attack or receive, grab, hold or seize, strike or evade, you need to breathe. Sometimes you maybe need to exhale, which will allow you, for example, to completely get loose and feel a little bit the gravity. Sometimes you need to inhale. Of course, the way you use your diaphragm is very important here. How you cultivate? Through the movement, by the movement, with the movement. If the movement is not correct, if it's too stiff, if you move in a certain way with speed, you can be sure that they said kokyu ga midare. So the breathing is troubled. And if the breathing is troubled, the movement is troubled. And the extension of that is the weapon. If you're not breathing correctly, the weapon will be more stiffer than she is already. Kehai. I have to say this is the one I like the best because you can see on many things, many scroll, many history. Kehai yo yomizuni. I didn't sense your presence. I didn't sense your intention to kill. I didn't sense what makes you a warrior, for example. So you have a lot of phrases like that in different kind of story, from Musashi to Yagyu, Tsukara Boku, and even Takamatsu Sensei, Hatsumi Sensei, Gyokko is a lot about that. Kehai is how you can, and it's very, in the case of, for example, Gyokko Ryu is how you annihilate this intention, like it's an absence through the presence. You are here, but we don't sense you. You do okay, you do a strike, but we don't feel your hand, but you're here. This is Kehai. And how you cultivate this? Here again, through the movement, by the movement, with the movement. And this comes, of course, with the right master and the right way of practice. It is in the Shugyo and also in your character, who you are deep down inside. In the word Kehai, you have also another way to read the kanji ki, that is translated by the energy, what is vital. In Gyokko Ryu as well, we have this aspect of the ki. So how you use it? When do you use it? So there is this kind of contradictory. Sometimes you should not show intention because the intention in Japanese, ito, or also you can call this ikki, the intention of the mind, because the mind is an energy. Having an intention, it's sending the energy. So when you said sakki, it's the killing intention. It is at the same time an intention, a tension, a body tension, a eyes tension that is going to be sensed by someone. In Gyokko Ryu Koshijutsu, like in the other Ryuha, we should not use any tension and intention. So if we show it, then we're going to be catch. Then someone's going to understand we're here. Then they're going to do any kind of countermeasure or counter in order to stop us. You need to know how to use it in order to don't have to use it. That's how it's complicated. And this kind of key that some people is going to call also the internal power, we can call this also the essence of human being as a vital way, is also what makes your kamae, what makes your movement, your waza, your strike proper, correct. It's not about seriousness. If you're too serious, you're too stiff. Gyokko Ryu, Koshijutsu, Koppojutsu, and use also something like a sekkin sen written on the scroll, which means every attack that comes very close. Chikaku, setsu chikaku tatakao. So striking in a very close area. You can see this also in Kotoryu as well, Togaku Ryu as well, Kukushin also as well. So this aspect is demand a way to get very close your enemy in a way he cannot sense it. For this, of course, at the beginning when you practice, you need to study. You need to, I aim here, I do this, etc., etc. But even aiming, it's sending your intention, so it's sending your ki. Ki and intention goes together. When you know how to use it, you don't have to use it. And this is the most complicated things, because it's not something that really depends only on our willness. It's something that is a kind of process through the practice, that comes through the process of the practice. Kufu. So you have two kanji for kufu. Kufu can be translated like creativity. It's all the different kind of, let's say, not innovation, but things you're going to find through the technique, through the practice, through the transmission you receive that will allow you to develop more deeper what you already receive, to apply things or to stretch their application, to expand the application from, because you have to keep in mind that each movement is written and depend of an area, depend of a period, depend of a certain context. When you receive it, you have, of course, to understand where it comes from, how it was used at that time, how it is used now, and how you can use it for tomorrow. This aspect of kako genzai mirai no jutsu, the practice of the past, in order to enlighten the present and to help for the future. First time we heard about those kanji, you have it already in Kamizumi Senokami, Kagemokuroku, and the Ichinin Ikoku Inka, written in the 1566. And already explained, after he said, on what he explained, he said, I have practiced the highest technique and deepest technique of the current of that time, the Ryuha of that time, mainly Katori Kashima, Nenryu, and Kage. And he finds something in Kage Ryu, he said. He said, I find a subtlety in Kage Ryu that the other Ryuha didn't have. And I put my faith on it. And thanks to the surrounding, the belief, I receive an inspiration. And from that, Kufu okushite, I did practice but also develop. Try in many ways. If they show me in that angle, I did on this angle. If they show me from here, I did it from here. If I do it from backward, I did forward, etc. This is the Kufu. Even Musashi, Miyamoto Musashi, the famous Miyamoto Musashi, in the Gorin no Sho said, Nichini Tanren Kufu. Night and day, deep practical that include and lead to the Kufu. A densho, it's nothing if you didn't practice. So the Happō, it's the same. You can just, 8 technique, 8 method, 8 rules, 8 fundamental, or it can be a universe, the depth that hide the kanji 8. Like a mountain with no roof and no base. It's endless. It goes deeper. And in an intellectual point of view, in a health point of view, it's good to be on an endless path. Don't you think so?